Just one last thing. When you're writing code behind, it's often difficult trying to diagnose errors. For example, if you run the web application and it doesn't display the right data, or something goes wrong. And it's useful in that sort of situation to debug the application within Visual Studio. Now, you can do that with normal applications, such as Windows applications and class libraries, and you can also do it with ASP.NET web applications. What you'll probably want to do is set a breakpoint in one of your event handlers. So to set a breakpoint, the easiest way to do that, if you choose the line where you want the breakpoint to go, and then in the margin, in the grey margin, just click there with your left mouse button, and that sets a breakpoint. Okay? And then, to run the application in debug mode, go to the debug menu and select Start Debugging. Earlier, we ran the application as Start without debugging, but now we're going to run it with debugging enabled. So let me click that menu item there. Now, if this is the first time you've tried to debug this application, you'll get this dialog box. And the dialog box warns you that debugging is not currently enabled in this web application. So at this point, you have two choices. You can add a web.config. This is a configuration file which will get added to your ASP.NET web application. It will have various information such as database connection strings, security information, whether tracing is enabled or disabled, and also whether debugging is enabled or disabled. So that's the first option. You can add a new web.config file with debugging enabled. The other option is to run without debugging. So it means don't add web.config, just run the application full speed. Well, obviously we want to run it in debug mode, so let's select the first item and click OK. So Internet Explorer opens up and it runs my web page. In the text box, I'm going to enter another name. So Thomas Peter Olsen is our little boy, and I'll click the button. When I click the button, it will post the data to ASP.NET, and ASP.NET will invoke my event handler within debug mode, and the application will stop just at the debug point. So let's click the button and see. There we go. So the arrow here in the margin indicates this is the next statement about to be executed. It hasn't executed this statement yet. At this point, I can move my mouse over various controls. So for example, if I hover over result label, it will display various bits of information about the control. And if I expand it, you can see I can zoom down quite deeply actually, as deeply as I need to, into this object to see exactly what data it contains. This is a great tool when you're debugging complex applications. It really enables you to, hopefully, quite quickly, find where the errors are in your application. So at this point, we can single step. So you can click this button here to step over the next statement. Or if you want to, you can step into the next statement. So this could be quite useful if you're calling a method and you want to step through the internal statements within that method. Okay, I'll just click step over and step over again. And as you can see, we've fallen out of the method now, and that's the end of the method. So it returns the appropriate message back to my web page. Okay, so we're done here. That's our first lesson. We've seen how ASP.NET fits into the grand scheme of things in web development over the last decade or so, and we've worked together to create a simple website in C#. We've added some simple code to the website to handle server-side events. In particular, we handled the click event on the button. Don't worry too much if you don't quite understand exactly how these events are working underneath the covers at the moment. We're going to drill down into the details in the next few lessons. We'll also take a closer look at precisely how ASP.NET web pages get converted into HTML markup. But all that's for later, so take a break, come back soon for the next exciting installment.